The blonde stood opposite him and thanked him for saving her. Uno replied that he didn't need gratitude. Anyone would have done the same in his place. She then stepped closer and said that it was already quite late. Leaning forward, she suggested they eat at her place. The guy scratched his head and said that he wasn't hungry. The main character stared at the screen in disbelief. What is wrong with this guy? Is there something wrong with his head or what? He scrolled through the comments. There was so much hate. This was one of the biggest titles out there. Yet people were writing things like, "What do you expect from a virgin? Someone please beat him up," and so on. Kang Lim was lying on his bed. A second-year high school student, he sighed in annoyance. Why is he such an idiot sometimes? He suddenly jumped up and shouted, "Honestly, if I were in his place, I wouldn't refuse. I'd already be thinking about marrying her." At that moment, his sister walked into the room while he was still yelling. How could he refuse something like that? "Mong Junior School, first year," she snapped. "Shut up. You're too loud. You're already annoying." She slammed the door behind her. Kang Lim managed to mutter that he was actually her older brother. He lay back down on the bed and groaned. "Now I have to wait a whole week to find out what happens next. And I don't even have money." He checked the comments again. Someone had written that they didn't know about others, but personally they liked the protagonist's innocence. Kang Lim scoffed and thought the commenter was an idiot. He stared at the screen for a moment, then decided to leave a dislike. "How I wish I were the main character," he muttered, "but in reality, you can only ever be a side character." The boy stood up and looked at himself in the mirror, adjusting his hair. As for his appearance, he was fairly cute. He started shadowboxing. He was strong, but then accidentally hit a chair. Ow! He flailed his arms around, and his sister rushed into the room again. "How much longer are you going to keep shouting?" School office. The young man was greeted by Yu Su, who smirked and said, "Welcome, my servant." Kang Lim, a second-year high school student, had one defining trait. He suffered from severe eighth-grader syndrome. The two sat down at a table. The brunette looked at him and asked, "Why are you so happy?" The brown-haired boy replied proudly, "I finally reached platinum rank, and I also pulled new characters in the game." He then turned around and added, "Don't say it like I knocked them out. I used a free ticket." Adjusting his glasses, Yusu said, "That's fate." "Looks like it," Kang Lim replied. "You're spending all your luck on this." He turned back to his friend and asked, "By the way, have you seen the new chapter?" "The new chapter of what?" Yusu asked. "The Goddess," Kang Lim replied. "It just came out. Wednesday." The brown-haired man asked again, "Is this a new webtoon?" His friend looked at him and replied, "The Goddess of Wealth, 6 brides escaping from the crisis." The comrade paused, thinking, that's quite an interesting title. To think that there were still masterpieces in this world he didn't know about. Kang Lim frowned. "Why are you pretending not to know? Are you really saying you don't know this webtoon, or everyone's favorite, I'm?" The guy turned toward him. "What are we even talking about now?" Just then, a notification popped up on Kang Lim's phone. He glanced at the screen and shouted, "What now? Those bad guys from the Dark Church again?" Clenching his fist, he added, "Don't underestimate me. I've prepared for this kind of situation." But as he scrolled, doubt crept in. Maybe my comrade wasn't lying. He searched for the series, but something felt off. It wasn't in his viewing list. "Why isn't it here?" he muttered. "Did yesterday's episode disappear?" He stared at his phone in shock. Was the episode deleted? Because of all the hate? Either way, it was strange. Before he could think further, the teacher entered the classroom. "That's enough chatting. Everyone, take your seats." She scanned the room and continued. "Today, a new student has transferred to our class." A blonde girl entered. She walked up beside the teacher, stood at the board, and waved to everyone with a gentle smile. "My name is Dahi," she introduced herself. "I transferred from Britain. I studied elementary school in Korea, so I can speak Korean quite well." The classroom buzzed instantly. "She's so cute. She's beautiful. I wonder if she has a boyfriend." Kang Lim looked up and froze. Dai smiled again and added, "There are still many things I don't know, but I want to be friends with everyone. Please don't be too strict with me. I hope we can get along." The class was completely charmed. The teacher clapped her hands sharply. "Quiet, it's still the beginning of the semester. so let's all try our best. Suddenly, Kang Lim stood up. He stared straight ahead and shouted, Dahi! The entire class turned toward him, confused. Realizing what he'd done, he quickly looked at his friend. Wait, what just happened? Do you really know this girl? His friend's eyes widened. Of course I do. He began listing her details as if reading from a profile. Her name is Doi, second-year high school student. Sagittarius. Her major is piano. Her hobbies are arranging flowers and appreciating classical music. She also works as a magazine model and a child actress. She studies, trains, and even her personality is completely different. Kang Lim slowly pulled out his phone. This is the same heroine, he whispered. On the screen was the cover of the webtoon, 6 brides escaping from the crisis. The goddess of wealth, Bao. He remembered the story clearly. Even among the 6 brides, she was the main character. And now the new chapter was right there. Kang Lim looked back at the girl and shouted, This is impossible. Is this some kind of hidden camera or cosplay? He shook his head violently. No way, this can't be real. They just look alike. And they even have the same name. Is this a dream? Am I really asleep? The teacher turned to the girl. Do you know him? Dahi looked slightly embarrassed and shook her head. I don't think so. Maybe he's someone I knew in elementary school. 12:40, Maring. Duichbrek sat at a table in the cafeteria. The brown-haired man stretched and said, It's lunchtime. Unlike my body as the Dragon King, this one actually needs food. He frowned. I've had a strange feeling since this morning. Maybe I'm under a curse from the dark church. Or maybe someone's jealous because I pulled good gotcha rolls. Kang Lim buried his face in the table. That's not it. He lifted his head slowly. I need to sort this out again. He imagined the girl, the heroine of the webtoon, appearing in reality. Grabbing his phone, he searched again. Nothing. 6 brides escaping from the crisis was gone. No matter where he looked, it didn't exist. He glanced at his friend. No one knows about this except me. Raising his head, a chilling thought crossed his mind. If this isn't a dream and not a delusion, have I really gone crazy? Suddenly he stood up. What's going on? Maybe I should ask the blonde directly. He looked in her direction. She really is beautiful. It's like seeing a real celebrity. At that moment, Dahi turned around. Their eyes met. She stood up and walked toward him. She's coming here? Really? Wait, I'm not mentally prepared for this? But it was too late. She stopped right in front of him and smiled. Hello? She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and asked gently, Have we ever met before? Kang Lim stiffened, then answered quickly, No. Dahi tilted her head. Then why did you shout my name earlier? He grew even more nervous. Seeing his reaction, she smiled softly. I came to ask because I thought you might know me. I'm not very good at remembering people. I might have forgotten someone from before, but I'm glad that's not the case. Trying to recover, Kang Lim raised his hand and blurted out, I was talking about when you met Si Yunan. She blinked. You even prepared white chocolate because you like it, he continued. You were really happy to see her again after such a long time. He had watched that scene over and over. It was burned into his memory. Dahi stared at him in confusion. How do you know that I like white chocolate? The boys nearby exchanged shocked glances. Why did he say that? Kang Lim panicked. I meant me. I was talking about myself. I like white chocolate. The entire class turned to look at him. What is this? Is he flirting right now? This is making me sick. Dahi felt awkward, unable to find the right words. Just then, a classmate approached from behind. Have you been to the store yet? She turned toward him. Oh, I'm Hojun, he said with a grin, and this is June. June added, Today's school lunch isn't very good. We were thinking of skipping it and going to the store instead. Want to come with us? Dahi hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Sure. The 3 of them walked away together. Kang Lim remained standing, staring after her. Later, as they walked ahead, the girl mentioned that when she first moved to Korea, she had really wanted to try the school cafeteria. The guy asked in surprise, Really? Don't British schools have cafeterias? As they talked, Kang Lim, sitting across from them, looked on silently. He sat slumped at the table, exactly as expected, his fists clenched beneath it. He knew what the girl liked and what she disliked. He knew far too much. How were they supposed to get to know each other naturally like this? Reality wasn't as sweet as he had imagined. He watched his classmates chatting happily with her and felt a sharp ache in his chest. The main character has appeared in real life. Seriously? The webtoon he read every morning, the one he checked the moment he woke up, its heroine was now attending his school, and yet no one but him knew. Worse, the series itself had vanished. He searched again and again, scrolling endlessly. The comments he remembered were gone. In their place were messages saying things like, he reread too many romance novels. He's crazy? Kang Lim frowned at the screen. What did I expect? He leaned back in his chair and muttered, even if I were in their place, I wouldn't believe it either. After that incident, they didn't speak again. That evening, his mother called him into the kitchen. Go to the nearest store and buy ketchup, she said. Food simmered on the stove. Kang Lim frowned. Why me? I can eat without ketchup. His sister lounged on the couch, eyes glued to her game. I'm busy, she said flatly. Busy playing games all day, he thought. Earlier, she'd just been watching TV, doing nothing, but still, he was the one sent out. With a sigh, he grabbed a bag and headed to the store. On the way back, walking alone through the quiet street, his thoughts wandered. If I think about it, the transfer student appeared in the first chapter. There was no one else around. The street felt unusually empty. What happened next? Damn it, I don't remember. Suddenly, a deafening roar exploded behind him. Something fell, hard. A body slammed onto a car, crushing it with a metallic scream. People began screaming and running toward the scene. Was that a person? Did someone fall? Kang Lim froze. Then it hit him. 6 brides escaping from the crisis. The poster. 6 heroines experiencing various crises. A romantic comedy where the protagonist saves them. Episodes named after each incident. The first crisis, Dahi experiences a stalker. His blood ran cold. If I remember correctly, it happened on the roof. That's where the protagonist intervened and saved her. But the body lay twisted on the crushed car below. And unlike the webtoon, the main character wasn't here. Kang Lim staggered back, covering his face. People shouted. Someone called 119. Sirens echoed faintly in the distance. There's a girl! The world seemed to darken around him. He fell to his knees. This is madness, he whispered. This is too much. He stared at the broken body, his vision shaking. She didn't do anything wrong. Tears streamed down his face. As his sobs echoed through the street, something strange began to happen. The air shifted, and in the next moment, later the teacher told him, after the lesson, come to the teacher's room. Kang Lim didn't understand what was happening. Once again, he found himself sitting at his school desk. The classroom door opened. A girl stepped inside. Today, a new student will be joining our class, the teacher announced. Kang Lim froze. Standing in front of him was a blonde girl. She raised her hand and introduced herself. My name is Dahi. I transferred from Britain. I studied elementary school in Korea, so I can speak Korean well. Her voice, her posture, everything was exactly the same. Of course, there are still many things I don't know, she continued, but I want to be friends with everyone, so please don't be too strict with me. Kang Lim slowly stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. He couldn't understand what was happening. This again? As he stared at her, one thought echoed in his mind. I went back to the past, just one day.